Sellers.
Here.
Supervisor Sellers.
Here.
Okay, we have four.
We have a quorum. Okay. The first order of business is the approval of the minutes for the July 6th, 2021 meeting. And a motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Please take a look at the minutes if you haven't done so already.
I'll make that correction that Melinda wasn't here. I did it on the original ones. When Mike sent the corrections, I didn't correct it on his.
Okay.
She was here in spirit.
That's right.
I still don't get paid.
You don't get your per diem.
I tried. Yeah.
That's funny.
Please take a look at the minutes, trustee. Any questions or comments?
I don't have any.
Nope.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The next order of business is the approval of bills payable. I need a motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Motion, second. Please take a look at bills payable if you haven't done so already.
You want mine? Here.
What's Amazon Web Service?
That's for, we back up to the Amazon cloud,
Oh.
some of the files,
Oh,
so that,
okay.
yeah.
You do purchase stuff on Amazon, don't you? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, that's not.
I do.
Just a little bit.
Lots of stuff for the dogs.
Any questions on claims and demands?
No.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Walensee.
Aye.
Cook.
Yes.
McElwain.
Aye.
Sellers.
Aye.
Sellers.
Aye. Motion carries. The next order of business is the approval of the audit report. As the next order of business, audit report from the bidding group. A motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Sellers, second by Walensee. Kyle, please.
My turn, huh? All right. Thank you for having me back again this year. Kelvin, you're probably the only one I don't think I've met out of this
Yep.
group. My name is Kyle Demas. I'm a
Nice to meet
CPA
you.
with Benning Group. We do the audit for the township here.
All right.
And they do an amazing.
Excuse me, Kyle, what's your last name for the record?
Demas, D-E-M-U-S.
Thank you.
So in our, in the thicker bound report that you have there with our logo on the front there, I'm just gonna run through a couple quick things there, and then I'm gonna flip over and touch on just a few comments in that separately stapled letter. So at the front there, once you get past the table of contents in our audit report, the first letter there on our letterhead is titled Independent Auditor's Report. That is our opinion. That is essentially what you pay us to provide. So we give what's called an unmodified opinion, therefore a clean opinion on your financial statements for the year that ended April 30th of 2021. So everything in here is as of that fiscal year end. So behind the opinion gets into the financial statements. Page 4 and 5, the first set of financial statements you'll see there has all of your activities grouped together into what's called governmental activities. Within governmental entities, there are various types of funds that may need to be reported here, but all of yours consolidate into what's considered governmental funds. So what you're a little more accustomed to seeing would be on page 6, and then in some of the supporting tables in the back. This is where your funds are broken out here. In our world, we do a calculation of what is determined to be major within your funds. General assistance, and the insurance fund this year meet that criteria to be reported here on the face of the financial statements. Your other funds are grouped into that column labeled other governmental funds there on the right. All of this detail, again, is broken out in more detail in the back. So as you can see across that top section, the total assets, a little over in total, 2.12 million. In cash, it was just shy of 2.1 million. The one item I want to call attention to, actually two items, the last line in the asset section at the top, and then the second line in the liabilities section there in that second section down, that due to and due from other funds. What that represents is in your pooled checking account, each individual governmental fund has a stake, basically a share in that pooled checking account. When a particular fund runs a negative balance, so overall the fund is fine, that checking account has a positive balance. But when individual funds run negative, then we are required to report them as due to and due other funds, basically inter-fund liabilities from one to the other. So in this case, if you look in the general assistance fund, there's a almost $39,000 number there that's due from other funds. That same number is split out underneath there, due to other funds in the liability section. That same number is there. So basically the general assistance cash portion of that checking account has helped subsidize expenses in those other funds. So we talked to Liz, we talked to Patrick at length about some ways to kind of fix this. QuickBooks in itself does not make it easy. QuickBooks is actually what creates a lot of this problem because it's very hard to track your activity across multiple funds the way that it needs to be. So we talked about a couple different solutions, a way that Liz is going to try and identify this earlier. We've had this issue in the past, but never to this severity. So this year it warranted mention in our other letter that you've got there separately. We can report it exactly how it is, and that's how it's required to be reported, but it's obviously something that we'd like to see fixed, so we don't have to have that comment in our letter anymore. So that's what we've talked to Liz about and Patrick this year on some ways to try and do that. So from the financial statement perspective, that's kind of the one item that I wanted to go into really in any detail there at all, was just to bring that to your attention there. If you look then at the bottom of page 7, so third line from the bottom, if you're looking at how these funds operated, were we in the black, were we in the red, you'll see there, third line from the bottom, general fund operated at $17,000 deficit for the year. General assistance fund was $157,000 in the black. Insurance fund was $28,000 in the black, and then the combined other funds were $31,000. So overall, just shy of $200,000 in the black for the year. The year ended April 30th of 21. All right. Beyond that, it goes into a whole bunch of footnote disclosures in there. The first several pages, truthfully, not a whole lot changes from the year before. There is a little bit of additional mention of the insurance fund in there because of its classification as a major fund this year compared to when it has not been in years past. We have on page 16, I'm going to kind of go through this section fast because there's not a whole lot of what I'm going to discuss with you guys in here. There's a footnote on your cash balances. Every year we look at cash to make sure that it's either secured by FDIC insurance or it's collateralized by securities pledged by the bank. We had this issue a handful of years ago now. Joy's looking at this every month still to make sure that your balances are secured at the bank. So no issues there to date here for the last few years at least. The other thing I'm going to mention here in the footnotes is on page, I think it's on page 22. Yeah, 22 here. So there's a whole slew of required disclosures in here for pensions, and in your case related to IMRF. So what we get is a report from IMRF each year that highlights a wide array of actuarial assumptions and valuations. Basically what this table here shows is that what the actuaries calculate for any current and former IMRF employees that would need to be paid out through their retirement. Again, this is as of December 31st now of last year, so as of just a single date and time. There's a total pension liability of a little over $3.7 million. That's the first column there at the top of page 22. As of December 31st, in your account at IMRF, you had 3.8, almost 3.9 million at that time. So you're in what they call a net pension asset position where you've got almost $140,000 more than what the actuaries calculate that you would need at that time. So obviously much better to be in that position than chasing the 8 ball like many other pension funds.
So in other words, you're saying it's fully funded?
It's fully funded. Yep, yes, sir. All right, so then, from there, when we get to the back of, past the footnotes, there are line item by line item budget to actual comparisons for the three major funds. I'm not gonna go into any detail on that, but it's there for you to compare. In our format, I know you guys see your own budget and actual numbers there, but this is in our presentation here. So each of those three funds, and then further beyond that is those detail schedules that I talked about, that break out the funds that we lump into that other governmental category, and then the breakout between your general fund and your capital fund, since for our purposes that's all reported together. So just some additional detail there at the back. In the other smaller letter then here, this is our required communication as auditors to you as the board. It goes through various components of our audit communications that we're required to have with you. It says that we encountered no significant difficulties dealing with management. Patrick and Liz are great to work with every year. That's never in question at all. So we thank Patrick and we've thanked Liz as well for all her help. Page 2 at the top, we have to call out any material journal entries that we make as part of the audit. The first two have to do with an allocation of corporate replacement tax that needs to be allocated to the IMRF fund. It's kind of a tricky thing. We're getting Liz squared away on that, so I expect that for FY22 that we're going into here that we'll have that cleaned up. The next one was a transfer, and only because of the way that QuickBooks was giving Liz issues did that end up in the wrong place. It was recorded, it just wasn't in the right spot, so we got it there for reporting purposes. And then the $9,400, we had an issue rolling forward last year's balances with this year's balances. We don't have any concerns about fraud or missing money or anything like that. That was just a way to get our numbers in total to match with yours. And a lot of it truly is a product of QuickBooks not being user-friendly for what you guys needed to do. So top of page 4, this is the last thing I'm going to go through here. These are our comments then here related to the audit. Lack of segregation of duties is a comment that we've had. It's a comment that we'll continue to have unless you can hire enough people to adequately separate everything that Liz does, basically, from there. So nothing of concern from our end, but more of a standard comment with really all municipalities and entities your size and of your staff size. The second column there, or the second section there, the pooled cash and interfund balances, that's what I alluded to earlier. That was that pool checking account that had run negative balances in general fund, IMRF fund, FICA fund, that basically general assistance was helping pay for all of those things. And we've got Liz hopefully set up on a way to track more of the revenues going in there and the expenses coming out on a per fund basis to try and keep track of that a little bit better. And then the last one, since we have material journal entries we had to list previously, we have to include a comment here at the end about making material journal entries to get the financial statements to where they are. All right, so I know it's a lot, but kind of in a nutshell, really, that's our audit report.
Hey, that's easy for
So,
you.
I hope it's at least understandable
long
to
as
you
we're
all.
in the black.
You're in the black. 200,000 in the black. I could have stopped there, couldn't I, Joy? I could have just walked
You
out
should have
then.
said in the black and walked out.
So does anybody have any questions? I know I just laid this in front of you guys. I apologize for that, but Patrick and Liz have my contact information, and you all can reach out to me at any time with questions. Liz can probably answer a lot of them too, but if there's anything specific with our reports, I'm happy to help.
No, appreciate the explanation also.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thank you.
All
as
right.
always.
Very good. Thank you guys.
All right.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Take
You as
care.
well.
The next item on the agenda is the approval of grants for Voices, Veteran Assistance Commission, and St. Vincent de Paul. I need a motion to set the mic. We didn't have to vote on anything, did we? On that audit thing, did we not yet?
Receive and place on file would be the only motion I would say.
Wait a minute, yeah, I think I jumped the gun, guys. So we need a motion to receive and place on file?
Yes.
Okay, we need a motion to receive and place on file.
So move.
Second.
Okay, now, we have a roll call vote.
I would.
Right, okay. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Aldenseed,
Aye.
Cook,
Yes.
McElwain,
Aye.
Sellers,
Aye.
Sellers.
Aye. Motion carries. Sorry about that.
All right.
The next item on the agenda is the approval of grants for Voices, the Veteran Assistance Commission, and St. Vincent de Paul. Need a motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second by Allison, second by Stella. Guys, take a look at the grants. They're in front of you. You guys can recall, I handed out the actual.
That?
Yes. No.
Oh, I
No. And this pretty much spells out, you know, what grants we're going to give and all of that stuff. So, and why we're actually giving the grants. So if you have any questions, please ask me.
Yes. How much are we giving Voices?
We're giving Voices $30,000
Oh, wow.
because they are doing a
Rehab.
women shelter,
Mm.
and they're rehabbing the old Sojourn House. And they
Voices
need-
got a lot of money, what, last year doing, yeah, they got what, 400,000 with the police department? That's a lot of money.
Yeah. But
That's why they can afford to do that.
But the way I see it, they purchased the building. They're providing a service that no one else is providing, and
That's
I
very
think,
necessary.
and it's very necessary. So I believe we should do our part in helping them be as successful as possible. So that's why I'm asking for this grant for Voices.
Patrick,
Yes.
I'd just like to say that in the past, it was Sojourn House, so you can imagine what the inside of the building looked like. After all the years of people going through treatment, and like 60% of them came back. And, you know, when someone's trying to kick drugs or alcohol, sometimes they can do damage to other things. So when they probably bought that building, it was probably in great need of
Yeah,
Some-
makes sense.
upkeep.
And
Yes,
on
yes.
section 3,
Mhm.
what does the Ready to Work program have to do specifically with this?
That was an error. It should have changed that to shelter facility. Thank you for catching that. Thought I had caught all those.
Where was it at?
Oh,
Page 3, top of page 3. I don't redo
Oh, okay.
each agreement from scratch. I take one we've used and try to model it so it's appropriate to this situation. And the previous one was a Ready to Work program.
Oh, okay.
So I thought I had changed all the references to shelter facility.
Okay.
I apologize for missing that one.
Mhm. We'll let you go this time.
Thank you.
Oh, I do have one note. In all of these grants, we always have this section about gender. Section 16, the use of the masculine pronoun in this agreement shall be construed and interpreted to include those of the feminine gender. Could we not just use they, them moving forward in these types of things, because it's neutral, and then we don't even have to have section 16 at all?
Attorney Phillips?
Very
Well, we
good.
could do it. I'd have to change all the references, but I can do that next time we do these grants.
No.
It's just a standard boilerplate clause we put in.
That's an
Yes.
excellent
It's just a
point.
nice, like, more futuristic
Okay,
approach.
not a problem.
So what are we giving the veterans? Does it say that in each one, or?
Yeah.
It is, it's in the section 3
Section
and
2 or
2,
3.
Oh.
and,
Am I
and the
missing it
top,
or what?
Yep.
Yeah.
and like the 7th.
Section 2, you said?
Yeah.
staple or paper clip?
I think it's 15,000.
No.
No.
25,
We're giving the VACSC 25,000.
but then there's, what's this bit about,
That's what's 5,000.
to increase the amount by an amount of $5,000?
Yeah.
Well, we usually gave them 20.
We gave them, what did we give them before?
I didn't have, in 2018 is the last time we had an agreement with them. That's why I said it was important to check Exhibit A as to whether they still need all that information on the equipment they're gonna buy.
Right.
I didn't know if they needed that.
I really didn't.
But as far as I know, we did not make, we didn't have a contract with
Oh, right here, right here, right.
2020.
No.
Right here.
Yeah, and also,
Oh, it's on the second page too? See that?
in the first paragraph.
Yeah, right here.
Come on, have it up here.
Huh? Yours is up there, mine is down here.
We keep looking at the same thing.
What are you looking at? Oh, you looking at St. Vincent?
Yeah.
Okay. So what did you say the last time we had an agreement with them? We gave them what?
I think we gave them 15 the last
15, I
time,
think, was in
yeah.
2018.
So the increase should be 10
This is,
as opposed to 5.
So it's 25,000.
These are county veterans.
Yeah.
There you go.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute, VAC is going to increase.
Yeah.
I think we gave them,
I thought we gave him 20,000 last time.
we did?
So we just upped them 5.
That's what comes to mind when I think about it.
When it was for like the van.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Transportation back and
We
forth.
started out, we gave them 10
Yeah.
And this is,
when we very first started. And then we added up.
Because I remember they gave us a partial list and then, you know,
Mm-hmm.
things that, because he told them,
Mhm.
gave them an amount,
Mhm.
so they did that, and he said, no, give me everything you need.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
then they
right.
came up to about 20,000. That's what I remember.
Do the veterans, do they get large grants like what Voices got? Do they
No.
get grants like that?
No, and their budget actually got slashed by the county.
Oh, well, I say get them some more
They
money.
got, their
I'm
budget
for my
got, they got
veterans
cut,
now.
so.
Mhm.
I'm
And,
sorry.
and that was one of the main reasons why I wanted to give this grant, because
Mhm.
their budget got
Oh,
cut by the county.
I'm totally in for veterans.
So,
So,
And now they're actually,
down
Dave's,
some of theirs.
my husband's a veteran. And so he goes to the VA in Madison and the VA here in Freeport for just incidentals.
mhm,
And they're finally coming up as far as computer,
mhm,
when prescriptions are done
mhm.
or due, people don't have to call in. The doctor okays it, it's done, and you get it in the mail.
Are we on I'm just asking a question. Are we on a budget on giving what we've given out? You know, is there a budget that, you know, we're gonna give out this much and we've reached it? Mike, you feeling like me?
No, no.
Cause I'd rather see we give, especially if they're not getting funds or the county's cut back.
Cut back some of
I'm
that.
for veterans totally. And so I'd rather see them get, what, 30,000, you know, or 35,000 or whatever we're doing. I'd rather see them, especially if they got cut back by the county.
Okay.
How much did they get cut back? You don't know.
I don't know. I know it was-
You know,
it
if
was
it's
a-
hurting them in
Did
some
they
kind
cut
of
their
way.
levy?
I don't know how they did it. When I got word of it and I spoke to Marna, and Marna said, yes, they are actually. And this may end up being a bigger mess than the county had anticipated. But
That's their business.
that's the county's business. I just want to make sure that we're doing our part to help our
Right.
veterans.
I do
wait,
too.
but the one with the $5,000 increase is the St. Vincent's,
Mhm.
not the veterans one,
Right.
just to
And
clarify. 'Cause I
What
got-
does St. Vincent's do?
Yeah, what
It's
is,
part of St. Joe's.
what is St.
Mary's.
Vincent's, this, St. Vincent, because what I was looking for in this is like the specification of what this grant is funding. Like where on this one, it's funding that new program, right?
Mhm.
Isn't the veterans, we are funding, transportation?
Transportation.
Mike, you got a copy of those in your notebook there?
St. Vincent
Oh,
de Paul is
yes, I
also
put 'em in
helping transportation for veterans?
No, no.
No,
Yeah, what
that's
is
totally
the-
All
different.
three of them.
Guys, listen.
Basic maintenance
Yes.
services.
Oh, okay.
And St. Vincent de Paul helps individuals that are outside of our scope. So when someone comes here, and let's say this person is receiving disability, we can't help them
Right.
at Township. But let's say they have an outstanding electric bill, they can't get paid. St. Vincent de Paul can step in and help out. They're like the safety net when people fall through our cracks. So, and they've done a great job at doing it, and they're very, very frugal with the money that we give them. Usually, the people who they assist are the ones who come through us, through the referral process. So they come to us, and we do all the checking and stuff, and then we'll say, hey, if this person needs assistance, we're going to refer you to St. Vincent de Paul. St.
And
Vincent
they
de Paul
also
is-
don't get grants either?
No.
Okay.
No. So that's why St. Vincent, that's why we are helping to fund St. Vincent de Paul, because actually they help us, and they help people who fall through our cracks that we can't help because they're outside of our mandate.
I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
I just say, because they are able to get grants
Mhm.
and they've gotten a lot of money, I would say, especially in the veterans, I'm just for them. So if we are if they have been cut back, I'd rather cut up for them.
Okay,
That's
so
just-
you want to increase the veterans grant amount, or what are you
Because the
guys
veterans
saying?
grant amount though is for something very specific. If there have been cuts, I would be curious where are those cuts being felt and like how to address it in a more targeted way.
Well, let me tell you something.
Because
There,
veteran, there is many funds for veterans
Oh,
and
yeah, and programs.
and women's
and perks.
funds are not something we should ever
but,
lessen.
right, but,
I say they
but,
getting
Yeah,
them.
right.
but listen,
Yeah.
when the Veterans Commission, if they're taking a cut, their largest expense is pretty much the same as our general assistance. So when their cuts when their cuts come, they're gonna make the cuts probably in the largest area that's spending the most money. And it's probably gonna be there. And they really can't afford to have cuts anywhere.
Right.
So I get what you guys are saying, I understand. And I can ask them exactly where they're hurting,
Okay.
and I can do that.
But the fact that we're in Illinois and the VA hospital and clinics is up in Madison, just recently they approved and sent out checks to patients that had paid their bill in full. And it's like forever, you know, you don't get a statement. You wonder, I wonder how much it cost or how much I owe. They sent a check out to these people that had paid their bill in full and reimbursed them because of the
they?
COVID.
Who's they?
The VA.
Wait a minute. Don't confuse the VA
With the
with the
VA.
County Veterans Assistance Commission.
I'm
This is
saying
medical-
the VA in Madison.
Right, that has nothing to do with what we're talking about here. We're talking about
Oh,
the
thank
local
you.
county
Right,
VAC.
Right.
The reason I know this is because I'm the attorney for the Winnebago County Veterans Assistance Commission. And
Okay.
I deal with them all the time, and I know that's a very common misconception, trying to comport these two organizations are totally separate and different.
But do you think Wisconsin's, maybe some of it is a little different than Illinois?
Could be, I don't know
That's
what the
what
law
I'm
is.
looking at.
It's the Military Veterans Assistance Act in Illinois that governs our local VAC.
And
They have
that's
a-
what we're giving to, right?
Yeah, we give them to a local
Okay.
group.
Okay,
Right.
thank you, Mike.
Sure, I just want to clarify that.
Thank you.
I guess,
Go.
especially the veterans, I mean, I guess definitely it would be a good idea to check and see if they are hurting more.
Mhm.
I guess I would hope that maybe they got that shortage addressed in other places, so they would have asked more from us maybe. So it's good to check and see, but I would just think that maybe they, whatever they got cut from the county, maybe they get filled in from other sources maybe.
Okay.
But it's not a good idea to, just to confirm that, to make sure that our veterans are being serviced properly.
The Veterans Assistance Commission, this is can you explain more
Sure.
the legal, like, how is it funded? You said there's some like it's locally funded, or is it federally funded? Where does their money come from?
They don't get any federal money. It's a local county tax rate that, depending what the rate is, that people can up or down, whatever, but, so there's a tax rate, a real estate tax that produces funding that they use for benefits to provide services to veterans. And then, beyond that, they have to have operating costs. You gotta have rent, you gotta have a copy machine, you gotta have that stuff, cars. The county board is legally obligated by statute to provide that to them. And so they have two sources of funding, basically. Usually the tax levy, which is used solely for benefits for veterans, and then the county board is required by statute to fund the operations of the VAC. So, and the VAC is made up of one representative, or maybe with an alternate, from each of the posts throughout the county. Like, there's the Veterans of Foreign Wars, there's the American Legion, there's the Vietnam, there's the U.S. Submarine Veterans, Illinois based, because there's one over in Rockford, I met the other night. There's AMVETS, and there's SHEVETS, SHEVETS. So there's all these groups that qualify under the terms of the statute, located in your county. Each post submits one person to act as to be a member of the VAC who makes the decision. They employ a superintendent who's almost always a military veteran. I think it's required to be a military veteran, and then that person runs the office. He or she is like Myrna in this case, or Steve Thomas in Myrna Bagel's case.
So when you say the county board funds the operational cost, when we're saying that it was cut, it was the county board cut operational cost, not the tax levy.
That's what I would assume, because they normally don't have the authority to cut the tax levy without a referendum approval by the citizens. I don't know. I just looked online and there's no news articles about that issue at all.
So, board members, would you guys like for me to hold these grants over to the next meeting?
I would like to see, because Kelvin, I don't think they came to us in the beginning, or when they did come, it was like they didn't ask us for much. We had to tell them, we're gonna give you this. So that's why I'm saying they're probably not gonna say, I mean, they're happy with what they're getting, so you ain't gonna be greedy, can I get some more? You know, come on, but, I just have, a heart for that, and which I have a heart for, trust me, that too. But I'm just saying, if they're able to get certain grants and get that kind of money that they were getting, I just feel that I want to do what we can for our veterans to make sure that they're, you know,
Taken care of.
yeah.
My just one note on that is, from my understanding, we are hearing that the VA does have a tax levy, meaning they, while they might not have a grant, they have a tax obligation that is going to be received regardless, whereas Voices is completely grant funded, right? And like one of the biggest issues, my understanding of shelters like that, is that because they operate entirely on grant funding, they often have a very uncertain future, because like they can't employ people in depth, like you wouldn't have the same job security in places like that, and there is not that stability of a tax levy. So that just not, I'm not like arguing against your point, just stating there isn't
Yeah, I
you know,
totally agree.
the same concrete forever funding. for that.
And it's been like that for a long, long time.
Well, just anything that's running completely off grant funding is just highly unstable. Like you can't guarantee anything, and so that's why tax levies are
Guarantee
cool.
life.
That's why taxes are pretty all right. 'Cause
Is
they
there,
make sure we have enduring funding for programs we care about.
Is there any possible scenario where if, let's say we did decide to give the veterans more money, it would keep us from funding the other two grants as proposed? Because if not, I would recommend maybe we go ahead and approve the Voices and St. Vincent's, but hold off on the veterans one until we get that information.
You know, it's not, it's not the point where we couldn't fund the other ones for, if we gave the veterans one, no. It's just, having the grant written to reflect the amount that we want to give.
Right.
And that's pretty much the gist of it. Now, if we would have approved it and then decided, hey, maybe we want to give them more, we'd have to go back and then do
Right.
all that. But if we want to hold off on other ones, if we want to hold off on the veteran ones and approve the other ones, it wouldn't hurt anything at all. So that's up to the board, whatever the board wants to do. So.
I'm comfortable doing that.
Yeah.
Do we need a new motion or something?
You have a motion on the
We have
floor
a motion on the
for
floor.
all three.
For all three,
So you're
not
gonna
for.
have to, you're gonna have to
Right.
amend the motion to delete the reference to the Veterans Assistance Commission. And then you will have a separate motion as to them.
Explain it again to the mic, because
Sure, no problem.
you lost me, man.
You have a motion on the floor.
Right,
I
to
understand,
approve all three.
To approve all three.
Yes.
Now, you would need right now, before you vote on that, you'd have to take a motion to amend that
Amend that
motion
motion.
to delete the reference to the VAC. Or is it all five? Have we?
No.
We did the others already?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Then you'd have to I make a motion to amend the motion on the floor
Mhm.
to delete reference to the VAC. Second, a roll call, voice vote on that. If that, then you would vote on the motion as amended for the other two. And then somebody could make a motion, I move to postpone the vote, the VAC until our next regularly scheduled meeting.
Okay. So what I need on the floor now is a motion to amend the motion that was on the floor the first time, right?
Right.
To remove the
VAC, yeah.
CSC from that motion.
From that motion.
So moved.
Yeah, second.
Okay.
Discussion and then a voice vote.
All right. Is there any discussion? Okay.
Give me a second to get this done.
I think we already discussed.
Okay, so amend the motion to delete BAC grant made by Sellers and McElwain, second by McElwain.
Mhm.
Is that right, Mike?
Right.
Okay. So then we need
We'll look
to,
at it later, don't worry about it.
Right, so now, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Now, we will need another motion on the floor
To
to
postpone.
postpone the
BAC.
the approval of the VACSC grant, right?
Correct.
To the next scheduled meeting. So I need a.
Till, what's that, August 2nd?
Yeah,
Sure is.
Yeah,
No,
Barb.
thank you. I just wanted to get the right data.
Okay.
Hey,
All right, so I need a motion to postpone the VACSC's grant to the next meeting, which is August 2nd.
Could you say that again? No, I'm just.
You're about to get a pin thrown at you.
When you take your name tag.
Yes.
So moved, so
All
moved,
right.
so moved, so moved.
All righty.
Sellers and
And
Cook.
yes.
I had to do it.
Okay, now,
That was wonderful.
all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Whew, okay. The next order of business is the supervisor's report. I'm gonna hand out the expenditure of the budget report. And I'm going to also give you guys some news that you guys aren't gonna like. Yeah.
You leaving?
Don't I wish.
I thought he said we gonna like. I
Yeah, don't I
thought.
wish. Okay.
Oh, I do too.
We got a new name.
We spoke about helping to cut some of the vacant lots. Oh, I went to the statute, and went to our trustee, township laws and duties handbook, and it states that we would have to ask the owners of the vacant lot. I then, went and spoke with the county. And in a nutshell, they don't want us to do it. They want the city to continue to do it. I said, okay, I am going to make sure that every phone call that I get about the vacant lots not being cut, that those phone calls will be fielded by the county. And they'll make sure I direct those phone calls also to the city. So it won't be me trying to figure out how to do it anymore. We're gonna make sure that the people who are supposed to do it will be the ones who are receiving the phone calls about it being done. Trustee Augustine.
So when they became vacant lots, didn't the city buy those from the people?
No.
I didn't know that.
No.
Okay.
They become, well, they're,
Tax levy or whatever.
yeah, no, they're tax sale properties. They're owned by the Stevenson County trustee, which is out of Springfield. Edwardsville.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they,
$815.
and they I guess they are the managers of the property while the county is the owner of the property, and they, so, anyway, it's convoluted, and the city has been charged with maintaining those.
Well, they don't wanna look bad.
Trustee Cook.
Just thinking, I don't have any
Mhm.
specific answer statements.
Trustee Augustine.
So the fact that they're not taking care of them? Let's just say,
They're
Okay.
taking care of all the houses that are on them,
No,
knocking them down,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, but not fast enough.
cutting out all
Taking
the old
people's
plants and
homes.
stuff,
they
Doing
took
what?
down the
What did
one
you
on,
say?
cutting
Yeah.
like trees,
Oh.
cutting down everything, they're clearing
and
those
grass
lots, making
grows
them
that quickly.
zeroed out.
Well,
Well, come right through the third ward, see how many.
Yeah,
they
come
tear
down my neck in the hardwoods.
Grass is growing.
Yeah.
Go
Well,
on,
well,
they
well,
were
having nothing.
next to the
Trustees,
tennis
trustees,
courts.
we
Oh, I'm sorry.
can't get off into what
I
the city
know,
is.
but
what the
it
city
is
not.
hard, baby, it's hard.
The only thing we can do is offer our assistance, and if our assistance isn't
Need it.
needed or welcome, then, that's.
It is what
right.
it
It
is.
is what it is.
So, well, yes,
What was the reason they gave as to why they wouldn't want,
there really wasn't a reason that they did.
just to know?
Just that the city maintains the properties in Freeport, but if township wants to give money, so that went over like a lead balloon with me, you know that.
How we gonna get them?
So, yeah, no, we're not gonna do that, since you guys can maintain them. Make sure you're doing it, because like I said, when the phone calls start, and they're starting, I'm gonna make sure I direct them to the proper people.
Do you have, their iWorks? Because maybe a good way to refer people is to give them the information for the city's iWorks. It's an app and also a webpage,
Mhm.
and that's where you go report grass uncut.
You know, that's,
Nuisance
that's,
officer,
Yeah.
that's,
Wow.
that's beautiful,
Good
but,
idea,
but what do you do when someone says that they've already did that?
right, 10 times.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
So, we've had that one. Yes, Trustee Hawkins.
There is one on McKinley that has been set for over a year for demolition in the 500 block.
Mhm.
And during the winter, no snow is ever taken off the sidewalks. During the summer, grass
Oh, yeah,
is
they
as
don't do
tall.
anything with the sidewalks, yeah.
Is there what's the telephone?
No, but if they set it
That's
for
the number you wanna give
demolition,
'em?
they should be taking care of the sidewalk when the snow
It
is
really
this
drive the
deep.
point home
Yeah.
that it's worthy of tearing down by doing nothing, right?
Yeah,
don't
pretty
know.
much,
Like-
yeah, you're right.
So,
Yeah, really make it look bad before you tear it down.
Well, it looks bad.
well,
Well, we tried.
right, and we don't, I don't know the reasons why, I don't know.
Make them look bad.
But the only thing was that I did reach out to the county,
And that is,
And-
who did you reach out
I
to?
reached out to Chairman Hadley.
Okay.
Chairman Hadley, and he told me on the phone that, well, the county don't have any lots that you guys can do. I said, okay. What about the ones in the city where the city maintains those? Okay. And that was the gist of my conversation. And I said what I said about making sure that they receive the phone call. So
Yeah.
that's all we can do.
Well, who asked for the money?
He asked if we would be interested in chipping in to help maintain the lots. Even after I said we would cut them. So, yeah, so that kind of threw me for a loop, and then, yeah. Needless to say, I wasn't too happy about it, but it's
Well, we tried,
fair
we came up
decision,
with a good idea.
yes.
Tomorrow's a new day.
Absolutely. Are there any questions trustees would like to ask me? Okay. The next order of business is assessor report, assessor.
I do have a short report today.
All right.
Uh-oh, I paid my tax.
Me too.
So I received a copy of the 3-year sales ratio study from the Department of Revenue. And as I suspected, we have to increase assessments because the market values are going up on properties. They're selling for a lot more than where they're at. And so we're looking at just over 3% probably overall. It will probably go on as an equalization factor for the most part. We're still working on our work and picking up what we can, but it'll probably be a flat equalization rate. And I'll let you know what that is once we close our books and we.
So it wouldn't be like 3 point, it'd just be, let's just
I'm
say.
not saying it's exactly 3. Right now, overall, that's every assessment. Overall would be about a little over 3%. We do our valuation, so anything that we pick up as reassessment this year, that can change that percentage. So I can't give you the exact what it's gonna be yet. And it will depend on whether it goes on building assessment and/or both the building and land too. So that will determine what percentage it is.
Even if you got a bunch of grass growing around you all over the other.
Isn't that the truth?
So I'll keep you posted as we get our books closed. Thank you. Have that.
We did? No, we didn't. No.
Wait, I know what you're gonna say,
What?
because I thought it too.
What?
You didn't vote on the other one?
No, we didn't.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. If you knew that, why didn't you tell me? Okay, I appreciate that. Trustees,
We got to go back.
we never voted
Right.
on the, you knew that too?
But I never said
As I
that.
was adjusting all my papers, I was like,
I knew it when we went on to the next one.
Everybody knew this, why didn't they say something? That would be nice if you guys would help me out a little bit.
you were too excited to share with us about the program and the mowing situation.
Okay,
I just was gonna call him tomorrow.
we have to go back, and now we have to have
Say all those things again?
no, we have to have a
Motion and a second.
no, a motion.
Yeah.
Roll call.
No, we haven't made a motion to approve the first
We
two,
need a
these other
motion.
two.
That's right, thank you,
Wait a
Troy.
minute, the motion was on the floor.
To
Motion was
approve.
already on the
To approve
floor.
all three.
Right.
And then
Then
we,
we-
right,
And then we
It is
amended it,
the one.
and what I said is, yes, now we have to have a vote on the motion as amended. And the
Which we
amendment
did.
is- Everybody's saying we didn't vote on that.
We never voted on that,
Then
we
there
only
was the
voted
second,
on.
Vote-
like
do it
voting
again.
it to cancel the other,
So
to
that's
hold the
clear.
other
Okay.
thing.
Vote, the motion is to approve the grants to the 2 entities.
right,
That motion was not made.
right.
No,
Yes, it was, that's how it was amended, Barb. That's what the whole point of
that's
the
what the whole
amendment.
thing was, we had to take off the VAVAC.
So, but we made a vote to postpone the VAC.
Right, we're not
But we
talking about
didn't
the
make a
VAC.
vote to
We-
approve the other two,
That's right, that's what we gotta do right now.
Right,
okay? So I wasn't wrong.
We'll talk about
I'll
it.
take it.
okay. All right.
Sound like an old married couple.
Yeah, that's why I said Barbara.
We've been working together for 30 years.
Yeah, you guys are going back and forth, I'm like, so we need a motion,
No,
No, we need a-
you need a vote.
a roll call vote,
A
right?
roll call vote on the motion to approve the grants to the,
St. Vincent invoices.
Right.
St. Vincent's and Voices, St. Vincent de
Voices.
Paul and the Voices.
Okay,
So we need a vote.
yes.
So you want me to call the
So,
vote?
Madam Clerk, please call the roll. Please call the
Trustee
roll.
Cook,
Yes.
McElwain,
Aye.
Sellers,
Aye.
Altensee,
Aye.
Sellers.
Aye.
Oh,
That would be hard, but I'll say aye.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just move things on.
Next on the agenda is trustees report.
I don't have
Trustees.
nothing.
No, okay. Next on the agenda is public comment. Any public comment?
Uh-oh.
Please.
Hi, Steve.
Hi, Steve.
Okay, I'm Steve. I wasn't gonna say anything, but the tax sale properties came up, and it is a huge problem in Freeport. A sizable majority of these properties are empty lots, and nobody wants them. And, well, anyway, I don't know what's going on, but as far as demos, I think you have to separate between properties that are being demoed and then tax sale properties. I'm sure a lot of the properties that are gonna be demoed were tax sale properties that were pulled off the tax sale list. The city can request that the county treasurer pull them off. But sometimes these properties slip through the fingers and they're bought by bad people that do bad things.
Oh, yes.
909 Oak, 226 Homer, 11 East Iroquois. Bad
Yes.
things and gunfire. I know who owns these properties, and where I'm at, I'm living it. It's bad. Well, Joy, yeah, what am I saying? You too. But tax sale properties are just a bad thing. And I just talked to somebody in the county before I came in here about who owns them. Not sure.
Have they not updated it yet?
No,
It
no,
looks
that's,
like it
the list
takes
is
them
updated,
forever.
but,
Trustee Officer.
yeah, but the county is the fiduciary, whatever that means. The trustee is a law firm out of Edwardsville. I've talked to them a couple of times. And Patrick, best of luck with this, because something's got to get done, and good luck.
Thanks, Steve.
All righty. Is there any other business coming before the town? Then I will gleefully ask for a motion to adjourn till Monday at 4:30 p.m., August 2nd, 2021.
Where at?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you, trustees.
They,